Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted to be joined by Danny. We are reacting to Willie Hutchinson stopping Mark Jeffers in 7 rounds in Glasgow there, in the co-main event on Collins Lorente. Danny, your instant thoughts and reaction to what we've just watched.
Yeah, great win for Willie Hutchinson. Great performance, a statement in stopping Mark Jeffers, of course, a very well, highly thought of fighter in these shores. And thought Hutchinson looked good, especially factor in how long he's had out of the ring. Thought after 4 rounds, I thought the commentary maybe wasn't giving Jeffers enough credit. I had it either 2-2 or 3-1, but after that, Hutchinson really took over. Jeffers struggled to land anything to the head, got through with a couple of body shots, didn't seem to have too much of an effect. And the punches he was shipping himself just accumulated from there. And then the finish was quality. Hutchinson sort of got into showboat mode, particularly the last couple of rounds, winded up a right hand, staggered Jeffers badly. Thought the referee got in at a decent time, to be fair. I know Jeffers didn't seem too happy about the stoppage, but when you factor in how those last few rounds had been going, the size advantage of Hutchinson, how badly shaken he was, I think the referee maybe saved him from a worse ending. And yeah, big, well needed win for Ole Hutchinson.
Yeah, for sure, mate. I think you're bang on a few things you've said there. I mean, yeah, I think the fact that Hutchinson got the stoppage is a bit of a statement in itself. I'm happy enough. I predicted that in our picks league. So that's although I was 1 round out, but yeah, no, I think it
Great.
is a bit of a statement. I agree with what you said as well, though. I think the commentary was maybe a little bit pro Hutchinson at the beginning. I think after 4 rounds, you could have easily given it two apiece. Um, but at that point, I still think it was obvious to see who was who was going to probably after four, although it was two apiece. I still would have thought to myself that yeah, if I had to pick a winner right now, it was going to be Willie Hutchinson. Then obviously, as you mentioned, he started getting into his flow, and when he was doing that and almost kind of doing the shoulders and showboating, so to speak, I was kind of my first thought was, well, if you're you're in your flow now, you're winning this comfortably. Don't just coast to a 10 round decision. Try and get the stoppage. And he did exactly that. I think it was a great finish. It was a cool, calm, collected, clinical finish from Hutchinson in the end. And yeah, kind of statement to be honest. I think I agree, mate. I think the size there was a couple of things. There was a bit, I know, size difference. Looked pretty big in the ring, I thought. Hutchinson, obviously a big lad. I know he's obviously fought down at super middleweight before, but he's a fully fledged light heavy, big guy. Um, but yeah, I thought he was doing enough early on, but ultimately he went through the gears that from that fifth, sixth, seventh round, those 3 rounds, he just upped it like at the click of a finger almost. It's as if he went, right, I'm just gonna go through the gears now and show you how good I am, Mr. Jeffers, and he kind of did that. And yeah, I think it was a clinical and calm finish as well. I agree with what you said about the referee as well. It's one of them where often referees criticize him whether they're a little bit late at the stoppage, but criticize him if they're a little bit early as well. It seems like sometimes the referee can't really win. I think that was probably a perfect stoppage. He was all over the show. Probably, as you said, save him for another day because probably too um he's too brave for his own good. Maybe Mark Jeffers there. I think if he watches it back himself as well, he'll have no complaints. I think it was a perfectly timed stoppage there. So yeah, big win for Willie Hutchinson. Good one as well, just before the main event. Get the crowd rowdy again. For yeah, I think it was can't really add much more. I think it was a great finish from him and a big win. But yeah, just before we do round off and go and enjoy the main event, Danny. Of course, there's a big light heavyweight fight, a Queensbury light heavyweight fight happening in a few weeks' time between a former opponent of Willie Hutchinson's and Joshua Buatsi. He's fighting Zach Parker. I think we make Buatsi a favourite. I know you, me, and Niall did a bit of a breakdown on that and fancied Buatsi. Do you think that that's an obvious fight to make and an easy fight to make? If you're Willie Hutchinson, what do you want next? Are you wanting that Buatsi rematch straight away? Do you see something else happening? What do you think?
What Willie Hutchinson wants next and what's likely to happen, I think, are two very different things. Willie Hutchinson is extremely confident. I watched an interview with him and Dev Sani the other day and said he beats every light heavyweight in the world. And of course, that's the way he should think. I don't think a Buatsi rematch, should he defeat Zach Parker, will happen. Buatsi beat him, in one-sided fashion first time around. However, a fight that I would like to see and I think makes sense and I think is a great fight for Willie Hutchinson is the winner of the European title fight on the same card, Brad Ray, Lyndon Arthur. I think there's two fighters who maybe wouldn't have as big a size advantage as he had tonight over Mark Jeffers. I'm not sure who I fancy to win that fight, but either or I think would represent a step up. Certainly at light heavyweight, Lyndon Arthur mixed it with Dimitri Bivol, beat Anthony Yard, Brad Ray coming off a good win over Shakan Pitters. So I think that's the fight to make. I don't think there needs to be any tear and rush towards certainly a world title. The Buatsi rematch I would probably leave alone as well. Willie Hutchinson I still thinks 27, something like that. So you get loads of time. As I say, he's had a long time out of the ring. I think if the winner of Brad Ray, Lyndon Arthur, is a fight that could be made in the first sort of quarter of 2026, it would be an all Queensberry affair. I think that's a fight that makes all the sense in the world, and I think that's the direction they'll go in.
Yeah, you've made a lot of good points there, mate. I think that's a really, really good one. I know he's chased the Buatsi one, and I listened to an interview as well with Hutchinson pre-fight, and he was talking about how, I'm annoyed at myself for my performance against Joshua Buatsi. That's not me, etc., etc. As you would expect to hear from a fighter that's got beat. They're obviously confident. He's confident that he can get that back. And as you said, that interview about him thinking that he's the best in the world, you got to think like that, don't you? If you want to get to the top. So fair play to him. I mean, I don't agree with him, but fair play to him. I think that fight's perfect. I think Brad Ray, I mean, he obviously he had a frustrating period, but as you said, big win there last time. And Shakan Pitters looked decent in doing so. Lyndon Arthur,
Yep.
coming obviously, depending on what happens in the Brad Ray fight. If you look at that Anthony Yard fight, was not on the Eubank Ben undercard, the first one. Lyndon Arthur looked mustard for about 5 rounds, didn't he?
Yep.
And early on against Anthony Yard. Yard obviously coming on strong in the end to win their trilogy. I think that fight makes total sense. I suppose it depends who wins that fight, but I do think that that would be a real acid test for Willie Hutchinson. I think it's a fight that makes sense for every party involved. Whether you're Brad Ray and you beat Lyndon Arthur, I think a great fight for you is Willie Hutchinson. Whether you're Lyndon Arthur and you beat Brad Ray, Willie Hutchinson's a great fight, and for Willie Hutchinson as well, I think that's a great fight. Then potentially, the winner of that, you could then go on to maybe a fringe world level fight with a guy like Joshua Buatsi, still in their Queensberry one, depending on what happens with all of the belts, whether what Dimitri Bivol does going forward, whether they become fragmented and you get, Willie Hutchinson gets into a position where he's in a final eliminator for a vacant title, something along those lines. I can see all that happening, but I do think that he's still got another few fights at this level, well, not this level, a bit above this level before he can really go on, push on to that fringe world level, getting that Buatsi rematch and things like that. So yeah, but yeah, not going to take anything away from Willie Hutchinson. He's put in a good performance there, particularly when he went through the gears in the mid rounds. So an impressive win tonight in stopping Mark Jeffers in 7 rounds in Glasgow on the Nathaniel Collins Lorente co-main event, as I said, in Glasgow on the Queensberry. So yeah, impressive, Danny. Thanks for joining me. Enjoyed that as always, guys. Let us know in the comments your thoughts, what you think you want to see Willie Hutchinson do next, what you thought of his performance tonight, and as always, subscribe to the YouTube channel, please, as well. Danny, pleasure as always, mate. Speak to you again soon.
Cheers, Paul. Thanks for